So let's start with a disclaimer here before we begin. And the information shared during this session is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing discussed today constitutes legal or immigration and investment advice. While we will refer to the best practices and real-world examples, every case is unique, and attendees should always verify requirements and consult appropriate professionals or designated organizations before making any decisions. By participating in this session, you acknowledge that GenesisLink and our speakers assume no liability for actions taken based on this discussion. I'm Mary Yazdani, founder of GenesisLink, a Canadian business immigration strategy firm focused on the structural side of business immigration. A startup with a C11 different PMP entrepreneur stream and the policy intersection between business viability and immigration approvability. You will joining the Business Immigration Gateway, a reformatted professional dialogue series. Some of you have been with us through the Startup Gateway sessions, and as all of you know, the policy landscape shifted dramatically in December 2025. The SUV program was effectively restricted, and the entire ecosystem had to recollaborate just over the night, especially with the ones that they had active clients. That recalibration is exactly why this series exists. The business immigration pathway is not about one program, it's about building professional fluency across every viable business immigration pathway in Canada so that none of us and none of our clients are even, again, dependent on one single program and stream. Today, we go deep on one of those pathways, as we have promised in the previous sessions, the Alberta Foreign Graduate Entrepreneur Stream. And for the rest of the session, we call it FGES. This is a stream most professionals know exists, but very few know how it's actually evaluated behind the scenes. That's the reason that we have our guest speaker today. And let me introduce our guest to you. Jas Geogia is Senior Director and Consultant at Elite Startup Hub, one of Alberta's approved designated incubators under the AAIP Foreign Graduate Entrepreneur Stream. Jas holds an MBA from the University of Alberta. He has more than 30 years of business management and consulting experience in different companies and Government of Alberta, Stantec, consulting partner to the Business Development Bank of Canada, and business and technology advisor to the Government of Canada. He is member of NACO, and under his leadership, Elite Startup Hub has supported over 400 jobs and more than $60 million in Alberta economic activity. Jas, welcome. Wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, Mary, and thank you everyone for having us. I'm pretty sure it will be wonderful insight for about the FGES program. So thank you very much, Mary, again.
No, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. So let's start with a quick poll to calibrate the room. You will see the poll, and we will have some, I believe, 3 or 4 polls during the session to make it more interactive and also receive your insight and continue the rest of the sessions. So in the past 12 months, how many FGES files have you personally assessed, open, or advised on? None, 1 to 3 files, 4 to 10 files, more than 10 files. So we will wait a few seconds here, and then we will show the result. While we are just waiting here, I just wanted to explain also one more thing regarding the next session. As we promised on the previous one, and we're talking about different also Ontario provincial nomination program and the changes that has been announced. We are expecting to see all those changes and new immigration streams for the Ontario, including the business immigration stream for the Ontario. And our next session will be around those changes. If they they announce it by the end of the May, the June session will be regarding the Ontario streams. Okay, so let's see the result? Perfect. 88% mentioned none, and exploring the stream 1 to 3 files, that is 13%. And so that shows and confirms the reason that we are having this series to educate people and also having understanding of full business streams that are available at the moment. Just let's go to the first section of our discussion. But before going to that first section, I wanted since also the poll was showing that 88% are not familiar maybe with this stream, let me briefly explain what this program is about. So FGES is the Foreign Graduate Entrepreneur Stream with the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, AAIP. It's of course, PMP stream, and it's for the foreign graduates that were graduated within the last 10 years. It can be anywhere. And then they want to come to Canada, they can apply through this program. What they need is an innovative business idea and intention to start a business, or if they have a business, to expand their business in Canada. And how it works is that they first need to go through one of the designated entities that is approved by government of Alberta. At the moment, we have 3 incubators that they are approved, and Elite Startup is one of them. So this is the first step. After they go through the just business and talking to the founder and do their own due diligence, if they select a company, they will give them the recommendation letter. By that recommendation letter, they can submit the EOI, and then on a draw, usually they get if they receive an invitation, then they can apply and then receive a work permit. They have this is similar to the previous session we explained about the other PMP. Usually the process is similar with a few differentiation between them. So this one is you apply for the work permit and full application, anything that you got point, you submit the proof. Then if you receive the work permit, you will move to Alberta. You establish the business based on the business plan and everything that you have committed there. Then continue every 6 months, you report the progress, and then you will get nomination for the permanent residency. And after that, you can apply for the permanent residency. So this is a brief about how this stream is about. The difference between some of those PMP stream is that for this specific stream, you need to have a recommendation letter from a designated entity. As I have mentioned, Elite is one of those ones, and that's why we have Jas with us. So, Jas, I wanted to ask you a question here for our professionals that they are in the room who haven't yet handled a file for this stream. Can you give us eligibility frame from your side? Who is this stream actually built for? What is the baseline an applicant must follow, and the strategy, some of the just strategy that they should have that today we are going to discuss more. Can you give us a brief, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Yeah, for sure. I think you nailed it down. The foreign graduate entrepreneur stream is under the purview of Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. And one of the main eligibility criteria, as you mentioned, that the education post-secondary degree from a recognized institute that has been validated by the WES within the last 10 years. So that's one of the things where most people, like, we have to understand that if they will qualify or not. So their post-secondary degree, whether it's a graduation or post graduation, should be outside of Canada within the last 10 years. Then they should have English language proficiency of CLB 5 or higher. And then they must have a commitment, and that commitment should be executed when they are going to execute their business. The investment of $50,000 minimum in the rural business areas or regional sectors, or $100,000 minimum for the urban sectors. So those are the main three key pillars of the eligibility criteria. And then, as you rightly mentioned, yes, they have to come up with a strong business plan with the innovation potential and execution strategy on that, which they would be presenting to the business incubator like us. And so, as a designated agency, we will be going to vet their business idea, understand if it is commercially viable or not, whether it is generating any economic benefits or value in Alberta, and the how the execution strategy look like. Uh, so we streamline. We have seen in many cases like we have to go back and forth and provide our feedback to them. We ask them the relevant question, go back and forth. It's a process, right? So
Yeah.
and once we understand and once we are in agreement with the business plan and the candidate looks potential, they have a capacity and capital and character, right? So they can execute that business plan. Then we provide a letter of recommendation to those individuals.
Oh, perfect. And that's the floor. I think now everyone is calibrated about this program. What are the requirements? So in high level, but this is not sufficient. I think just the first thing that every professional in this room wants to know, because it determines whether we even take on a file, is
Mm.
profile fit. When you look back at the cases that have come through Elite Startup Hub, and ultimately succeeded, what patterns show up repeatedly? Like, the real one. What are you looking for to choose a right versus some made up groups
You know,
of
that's
applicants? Mhm.
That's a very good question, actually. From our experience at Lead Startup Hub, working directly with those applicants, especially successful cases, share three main patterns. One is the genuine alignment, right? Uh, the founder's background connect with the business that they are proposing. Also, the business model not needs to be a natural extension of someone expertise and career background and the trajectory that they want to launch. It should not feel like that it's an immigration driven or kind of forced business model. So that's the kind of thing. Second thing is the early validation. The
Mhm.
strongest applicants arrive with some kind of already groundwork that has been done, thorough market research of Alberta's market where they're launching their business,
Mhm.
and any conversation that they might have with the real potential customer or any data research that they have done or any service that they have might used, and maybe early stages of MVP also, right?
Mhm.
So that's the early validation kind of concept that provide really good evidences that the candidate is having they have done their research and they are genuine. And the third is a Alberta-specific market understanding, right? The clear
Mhm.
knowledge of the local market, who are their competitors, and whom they are providing their services, and what realistic uh, uh, pricing positioning look like for specific for Alberta. So those three main key pillars, are the patterns of a successful candidates from the application point of view.
Oh, that's great. And how much that execution history actually matters to you versus academic background?
Yeah, well, as long as they meet the eligibility criteria of within the 10 years of education and, based
Yeah.
on, so uh, definitely execution history matters significantly, as well as academic credentials as well, right? So there should be a balance, right? So, there should be, when we evaluate, we understand that, the candidate has a background, or if they don't have a background, they might have a passion that should reflect in the business plan, right? So
Yeah.
sometime, they are doing something different, but they have some idea, they are finding some gaps into that particular segment. They want to provide service or launch a product or launch a business, right? So if we see that passion and where they're coming from, why they are trying to launch something, those kind of the areas make more sense. But again, sometime execution outperform sometimes the academic background.
Yeah.
So, but it should be a balanced approach though.
Uh, when you see a strong case, sometimes it's just, a business traction, great business traction, fully built business that you see, and you're convinced if also they have some within that mandatory requirement. But as you have mentioned, and if I understood it well, you are saying that you are not looking specifically for those ones. Of course, they are strong cases, but also if you find a founder who is willing to build that business, they have passion and they have enough justification for staying and contributing to the Alberta economy and ecosystem, this can be also a strong fit for you.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay.
So in our experience, yeah, well-positioned early stage ventures, that make stronger and clear application than fully built businesses.
Mhm.
And the reason is, about the fully built businesses can sometimes introduce complexities, right? The ownership structure, the prior operating history, the valuation disputes, or, so many things that comes along with the fully built businesses that they want to buy. But on the contrary, early stage ventures, right, if they have been properly developed with the credibilities, go how they're going to the market, so kind of go to market strategy, and
Mhm.
realistic financial projections demonstrate a genuine readiness. The straightforward case is better in that case.
And from your experience, are there sectors that consistently perform better in FGES, and or are there specific sectors that Alberta government is looking for? Just having newcomers on those ones or no?
Well, let me to go back to the FGS eligibility criteria, right? So yes, we have discussed about the academic background of the 10 years degree and the capacity to invest as well as the English language. Apart from that, Alberta government has a 8 priority sectors that where we are asking individuals to consider when they are looking for business expansion or starting a business over here.
Mhm.
And those key sectors are technology, agriculture, energy sector, financial services, and then it boils down to life sciences, and then aerospaces and pharmaceutical. So what we have seen, like the industry that are outperforming than others, Elite Startup Hub, we invite every other individual who are coming from all these 8 sectors, right?
Mhm.
Although we have seen more trends toward the technology or SaaS models, software as a service models, within a well-defined clientele base, or aerospace businesses and energy sectors also have been encouraged. We have seen less application in this aerospace segment, but we are, if you want to position your client well, the aerospace and the aeronautical engineering kind of
These are
sectors
the
would
interesting, yeah.
certainly outperform. But on the other side, we have seen many applicants coming from a financial background with the different innovative ways to serve the clients in the financial sectors. Likewise, health and wellnesses. Um,
Mhm.
so, so there are consistently, all those who are generating the local employment and committing to hire a local Albertans. Uh, Elevate the profile. So those industries and business models tend to perform better in FGS.
So thank you so much for explaining this. And to our audience, I think that what Jess told us is that fit is not a credential, it's a coherence from the founder, the model, the market, the timing, the industry. They have to align before anything else matters. And so like it's something that needs to be natural, and all the whole thing, the whole package fits together. So now let's go inside the actual evaluation. And before that, I wanted to do the second poll from our audience. And the question is, in your own due diligence, which factor do you weigh most when assessing a prospective FGES applicant? Is it founder operating capability? Is it academic educational background, capital and runway, or market fit and sector alignment? I know that we had 88% that they never did this. So Just saying that based on the discussion, actually, how they come up with the answers. Okay, I think we can see the results. We give them a little bit, a few more seconds, and then show the result. Oh, 33% found their operability and operating capability, academic 11%, capital and runway 11%, market fit 44%. This is interesting. I think we missed one option here, and that one is all the above. I will say all the above. That is missed here, and that's our mistake, actually. But thank you so much for participating in the poll. Just this is the section, this new section that I want to start is a section that every immigration professional in this room came for. And from your seat, from initial submission to recommendation letter, walk us through what an FGES file actually looks like internally. What are the real stages? What factors influence how fast or slow a file moves? How long this process from your side till submitting the recommendation letter will take?
Hmm. Yeah, so the process begins as soon as applicant is ready to apply under FGS if they meet the eligibilities. Sometime, there's a clarity that we need to provide to them that, certainly if they are meeting those eligibilities or not, and if there's no any misconception or misunderstanding. So that's why we have a one consultation call that we do it for all the clients who are willing to apply under this program. So the process really begin with the initial assessment of the applicant's profile, the business concept. We want to understand, hey, what you want to, start the business, what kind of the model it will be. We ask those questions in that call or, the discovery call that we say, and what are their overall readiness and how much they know about the program. Then we provide them a program understanding that these are the processes, though we provide them the stages, specifically the information that they have to start with their business plan, their pitch deck that they have to submit to our Elite Startup Hub as soon as they been in contract with us, when they choose us to be part of their journey as a designated agency. And then we go back and forth with them on the business plan. We do the kickoff meeting and onboarding. So Elite Startup Hub processes is different than maybe other designated agencies in terms of that we pay a lot of one-on-one attention to the candidates. So our advisors work directly with the clients, and we provide them feedback, review on a weekly basis or a 3 or 4 days basis based on where the business plan is in the process. Not every applicant is accepted. That's number one thing that we want to mention in our incubator program. So the evaluation is itself is a quality filter for us.
Sure. Yeah.
Once accepted, then we have a structured development process, refining their business model, streamlining their business plan, ensuring that all the dots are connecting in the business plan. All these things do matter. We pay attention to every single word, every single number that they have put forward into the business plan. And how founder is engaged, how responsive they are, how they are treating our feedback, and if the genuine opportunity to strengthen, because our role is to ensure that their every client is a success for us, right? So we want to make sure they are successful. Ultimately, we work for them to make sure they are successful. So as long as they don't think that it's an administrative hurdle and they are participating into the feedback, reviewing, and then providing their, once we provide the feedback, they are genuinely correcting and updating their business plan, and they're fully committed. And sometimes it requires major revision. Sometimes, those small improvement can make their business plan closer to the win stage. So as soon as you know, uh, all these foundational pieces are being corrected and updated, and the business plan is ready to move forward to the next stage. then we issue a letter of recommendation to them. Again, all the other background filter that we have in our assessment criteria needs to be met. All the conditions and criteria must be met.
Sure. I was looking at the question, and one of the attendees is asking, there are a business plan, or many of the business plans are generated with AI. So how do you differentiate those ones? And like, I think the question is around the genuineness, like, how genuine this ones is. How do you check that? So I know that you explain it, that this is more one-to-one meetings with the founder, realizing and not only looking at the business plan, but how good they can present that, or how aware they are from that market research in the conversation. But do you have anything else to add on that, or no?
Yeah, that's a very, very genuine point somebody has put forward. And we have seen sometime those trends. People think that, hey, you know what, here's the business plan guideline that we are providing to them. Here is a concept that they want, and let us ask AI to build it. But you know what? AI won't be able to do a research for them. And we will be asking them the questions. And, when we are reviewing their business plan. So when we have seen many cases where people are just throwing in business plan within 2 days. We although we give them a certain time that, hey, you know what, take all these feedback, revise it, and come up with the and strengthening business, come up with your strong business plan from that fact. But they think, you know what, they want to move forward with the things, and cut off their timeline by asking AI to generate something. But we easily find out that cases we have, because we have so much of experience now, and we easily find out even from
Yeah,
the day one they
I
submit
agree.
this plan, that if the AI generated or they have put their own work into it. Again, the passion and the commitment should reflect into the business plan. If
That's the coherence that we talk about,
yeah,
right? Everything should
exactly,
fit together and should make
100%.
sense. Not
Yes.
having, I was talking to someone and they had a TOEFL exam or just IELTS exam. One of the three of the skills were 9, one of them was 4. So to me, is that okay? Is there any way to cheat on this exam? So, it's not possible someone has 3 9 and 1 4, and that 4 is the one that needs just one-to-one interaction. So I think that's the same thing that applies to you. It's
Exactly.
fine if people are using AI to enhance the results and make the business plan better. But when you talk to them, you realize actually how in just how if they put it together or not. So yeah, okay, perfect. And we have a question regarding the volume and also competitiveness of this program, the approval rate, or just how the demand is nowadays. How competitive is it actually to obtain a recommendation letter today in 2026?
You know what? It is getting competitive for sure.
Mhm.
Last year in 2025, we have seen that as soon as EOI was submitted, even sometime within few days, they are getting their EOI approval and even
Wow,
invitation to apply the full
that's
application.
great. Oh,
But
that's great.
but in 2026, there is a shift now. As you know, as you mentioned, from the start and beginning, that there are other programs, startup visa with Canada, and all the other, maybe some other programs have been stalled or paused. And now most attention is towards this program. And we have seen some more trends, and so many people are
So
invited
it's getting more competitive comparing
compared,
to the
for
last
sure.
year. It's
Yeah.
getting more competitive.
One thing that I tell people, everyone, and when our immigration professionals are also in connect in contact with those aspiring individuals to apply for FGS program, tell them one thing: be patient, because you know what, this is a really strong program though. And this program, if you will be following incubators like us, or even their immigration professionals feedback very constructively, then we can see that they can become successful, right? But it's not a program that overnight sometime, like, if they are thinking that they will get something, right?
Yeah.
And from my experience, and when I'm talking to the AIP program officer and the coordinators, I found that, they have a genuine staffing issue sometime as well, right? So we need to make sure that, yes, once they're building the inventory of all the EUI approvals now. So the brighter the chances is a good business plan, the good investment generating economic benefits for Alberta make their cases more stronger compared to any loose or light business plans.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. That was a great point also, because I believe at the end of the startup visa, talking to different just clients, I was saying that, and also nowadays rejecting some of those startup visas, work permit, we see the notes from the officer regarding the business plan, which shows the importance of the business plan, and just giving some AI, okay, give me this, and this is my idea. It's not going to work. I think there are more, just, more time that needs to be spent on this and more genuine. Make sure that you are testing also the result. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing on,
Uh,
and really echoing on what the program officer from the Canadian government might have said about that business plan. We have seen that many professionals on the, who have done previously startup visas, uh,
mhm.
and when they are connecting with us and they want to present some client, and or so forth, we have seen that they are providing us a business plan of 120 pages, 130 pages business plan, but
Uh,
that doesn't make any sense if there's, like, there's no connection, there's no, it's
Number of page doesn't mean that is the
yeah,
best business.
it's not about, 120 pages business plan who cannot even clearly explain their value proposition
Yeah.
compared to an honest, constructive, well-structured 10 pages business plan, which is clearly prepared, market connected, and financially ready to execute. That outperform than any other. And we have a strong guidelines which we follow from the Alberta government, that let us have a concise and clear business plan compared to a fluff, right? So,
Yeah. So what happened just after the recommendation letter? I want to take our audience from the recommendation. So we talk about the eligibility, then we talk about the process of getting the recommendation letter. Now, can you please take us to the execution? So that reality gap. Can you just, explain to us where most cases live or die when it comes to the execution?
yeah, um, the basically, again, if we don't issue letter of recommendation until we are not convinced, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if that's the first big milestone for any kind candidate, like, it could be it's the same thing with the other designated agencies, I'm pretty sure. So, after that, once they submit their EOI, then they have to wait for the ITA. So they get 90 days, I think the same way, right? So the 90 days that they have to apply for every other thing. And at the same time, our genuine business assessment report goes to the government of Alberta as well. That why we have issued a letter of recommendation to that particular applicant. So we
Mhm.
provide our assessment report that goes beneath that application as well. So that's a process, and then, the business performance agreement gets signed between the candidate and the government of Alberta. Then they apply for the work permit, they come over here, then they establish the business plan, or execute the business that they have under the business plan. So the biggest execution gaps that we observed after the post approvals are the, cash flow management,
Mhm.
sales and business development, hiring or building or developing their teams, regulatory compliance. So all these things are
Those
some.
commitment that they made on the business plan,
Exactly,
basically.
exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. And how critical are the first 90 days after they come? And just, how much ultimate outcome is determined in that window or is expected on that window?
Well, one of the most important predictors of the overall success is the first 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 90 days establish the operational momentum, and more importantly, they establish the founder psychology and working rhythm in the new market, right? Because they are coming from, outside of the Canada, and they. But the good point about having engaged with the business incubator like us, that we are here to help them. We want them to be successful in the market. We will be providing them end-to-end services as well, post arrival. So a
Okay.
lot of mentoring, network connections,
Perfect.
um, and so many other services that they would need, right? And they can always bank on us to provide the help to them. So find founder who arrive with their, banking arrangement, their business registration, their, already go-to-market strategy execution kind of, if they can have a first few clients booked, or, find out how they will be executing. Those are the. I know there will be so many inevitable challenges as well in the early stages of the businesses, but Alberta government is not punishing them that if they are, we want
It's
them to be
a startup reality. You cannot guarantee
exactly,
that it
yeah.
will be succeeded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So
Uh,
we actively coach them within the
Perfect.
90 days, when they receive their nomination. So, for the business execution when they're coming here through the work permit.
Mhm.
So we provide them genuine services because we are interested in in the success of their business.
I understand. And this is a great point for our audience to know that. So, also to ensure your clients that they are not alone. If they haven't been in Alberta at all, or they don't know where to start, how to start, the incubator is with you, is helping you, mentoring you, providing resources that you need, and make sure that they are with you to just help you as much as possible to be successful in Alberta. We talk also about this part of the execution, but can you name two or three red flags that at the end, when they are submitting the reports every 6 months to the government of Alberta to get the nomination for the permanent residency, have you had a case that they had real trouble and then they couldn't just recover or just fix the issue, or just if they receive any negative feedback, which means that they cannot receive the nomination?
Well, Mary, we have not have any experience on that,
Mhm.
where they are unable to, execute according to their business plans. But
Okay.
we always mention to our candidates, that you need to do a genuine and honest effort on your business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's more important than the numbers, right? Numbers, if we are sharing that you will be going to have a, $40,000 of net profit in the first year, but you are not able to make it, that's all right. As long as you have demonstrated that you have invested the required dollars that you were interested in your business plan. You have hired, you have created some economic benefit for Alberta.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, let us say if you are not able to meet that performance, and there could be any risk, who knows that there will be a war
Yeah,
and
change of government
oh,
rules,
yeah,
change of the
yep,
geopolitics, and all of those ones can risk the
yeah,
success. But you're absolutely right. I think what they want to see is that coherence, that the founder
correct.
did their best, they
Yeah.
made the commitment, they had the intention to run a business in Alberta. But at the end, when they show that, oh, okay, this door is closed, we went to the other door and other door and other door, and still it was closed. No one is telling them that, okay, since you are not meeting that financial projection, the income projection, so leave the country or leave the Alberta. You're absolutely right. Everything about is how genuine that founder is, and the intention is not only permanent residency. It's not about the results or checking. Just comparing with the business plan that they submitted, but showing the intention and commitments.
Yeah, not all the cases, but yeah,
Yeah,
if there is certainly, like, there's an exception there. Yes,
yeah.
that's always the case. Yeah.
So we wanted to have a poll here. So the question is, in your experience, when an FGES or similar entrepreneur case stalls post-approval, the primary cause is usually option founder undercapitalization, misread on the Canadian market, founder commitment, focus drift, poor business model from the start, and all of the above equally. Not necessarily for this stream, but any similar entrepreneur streams. And the time is 11:41. So for the last section of our discussion, we don't have that much time. I like to keep 10 minutes for Q&A. And as I'm seeing that there are many questions on the chat, and I like to respond to them as much as we can. So let's see the results. 11% founder commitment, focus drift, 11% poor business model from the start, and 78% all of the above equally. Okay, that's nice. And I think that's true. Most of all of those options, I think somehow they are important. You cannot say that only having one of them or not having one of them will cause that. So the last part that I wanted to have a discussion with you is, and I want to keep it tight because it's most useful, just, filter our audience can take home. The false positive, the cases that look strong, they tick every box on the paper, but ultimately they fell apart. What do those look like in just, in the reality? What are those things, just, those blockers somehow? Is there anything in addition to that discussions that's so far we had or no?
Yeah, well, the most consistent false, um, positive cases is about, when there's no relationship in the target industry, right? No
Mhm.
experience in the active sales and no clear answer to how they will acquire their first paying customer, right?
Mhm.
So those are seen like, that, they are coming up with a business plan and they have go-to-market strategy, but they are not nailing it down that, how they are going to get their client actually, what is their sales strategy would look like. And the second common false positive is in the acquisition or franchise case where where a business exists on paper, but the founder lack the operational depth, right? Or if they have a experience running this one, they were really good on the academic side, as you mentioned, the execution side, and they were very strong on the paper too. But ultimately that doomed ultimately when they are executing it. Again, strong credentials and strong documents are necessary, but not sufficient. So that's always the case. So we always ask them to emphasize on the execution plan very, very actively. As I mentioned early, that we want to see the business plan connecting all the doors. And that's
Mm.
why we are sometimes, some people get frustrated with this process that, it takes 3 months to get the recommendation letter. Sometimes, some people are getting in 1 month. It depends upon how.
Quality of the work that they are submitting to you.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, we want, again, our main goal and objective is that, hey, if you want to work for your success, then you have to, get all the feedback that we are providing. We always, on the onboarding, from the onboarding time to until the recommendation letter or so forth, we give them genuine feedback as well that, this is the area that we don't find strong. You have to improve that on or so much of like that stages. So
Oh, thank you so much. That's great. So we covered so far from the eligibility and after that recommendation letter, how to work with you, what are the items that usually you are looking into to just give someone recommendation letter, and after that, the services that you provide to support them to make them successful. And also we talk about that execution period before receiving the nomination. So I wanted to conclude it here and go to the question, as I'm seeing that there are many questions in the chat. So let me Is there a restriction on business types and age bracket for eligibility? I think you answered about the business type and the industry that is part of the requirement, and these are the industries that Alberta needs. Managerial experience required. So they are asking if that's part of the requirement or not.
That is correct. Yeah. So part of the eligibilities are again 10 years within the last 10 years degree. And some cases when somebody is mentioning the age, in the good thing about this one is that yeah, age is not a barrier. Sometimes people have a PhDs, or late 40s or something like that. They are still qualified.
Mm.
They must have a minimum of 6 months of experience as a managerial level or as their business owner or entrepreneurial experience where they can understand the profit and losses, the budgeting, the team management. That's how they will be able to successfully run their
Yeah,
businesses.
sure. And what are the minimum assets required? I think Jess already mentioned that the mandatory requirement based on the area of the Alberta that they are applying is minimum 50K, or if it's on the just big cities is 100K. This is the investment requirement. But beside that, like some of the other PMP streams for the business, they are saying you should invest minimum this amount and you should have net assets of this amount. Do we have the similar thing in the this stream FGES or no?
No, in FGS, there's no any particular or specific
Minimum net asset.
net
Okay.
worth assessment. As long as your investment and net worth matches, that's also fine, but more is better, right?
Yeah,
So
sure. Sure. We have a question regarding eligibility and expenses requirement tips on success of this program. I think we already covered it, how the program, how someone can be successful on this. Can we also get recording of this webinar recording? Yes, as soon as we finish this meeting, you will receive the recording of the webinar. Also for the people who registered but they were not able to attend, they will receive the recording too. Plus, we have the recording in our website in the events page. You can see the YouTube link there. Also, we have it in our social media link to the recording as well. So the next one is how many approvals are you seeing per year? How many spots are designated by the government for FGES?
yeah, that's very interesting question, and that's what we strive to ask as well from the government. But yes, from our understanding and conversations with the government officials, and also it's a public record also on the government of Alberta's website that last year that they were having a entrepreneurial nominations about 23 to 26. I think that was the number. But this year they have given more allocation, about three times of the allocation. So this year they are going to provide nominations about 90 candidates under
Oh,
the all entrepreneurial streams in Alberta. So now when it comes to so that's the how we measure the success, how many they are giving the nominations, right? So
mm,
people who have already gone through with all the process and they have already established their businesses in Alberta already, and they are meeting the criteria and getting the nomination. So we have seen that more allocations have been provided to the entrepreneurial streams.
that's great sign. Yeah, that's great sign. And I think this, what I like about this stream is that some of these business stream, they need huge investment in Canada. And as
Mm.
you have mentioned, they don't know Canada ecosystem. There nowadays, the whole world is unstable
Yeah.
with everything that is happening. So it's really hard for them to make a decision to invest $1 million when they have no security and there is too much risk associated. While this program is much easier because it's lighter on the investment side. Also for the people who wanted to apply for the professionals who have a clients that were originally interested in the startup visa, they have innovative idea. I think this program is really well suited and aligned with their goals. I will go to the next question. How many months would you estimate before the ITA? So from your
Again,
side, you have mentioned based on the completeness, it can be 1 to 3 months. It depends really on the quality of the business plan and everything else that they are doing. And after that is a EOI and just the draw. But can you give them an estimate or no?
yeah, so Mary, I already answered that, and you
Yeah.
picked up again. Yes, so basically, it depends upon the business plan, the readiness of that business plan, right? How well structured that business plan is. Uh, in our process, we provide them on the base service level. We provide them 5 reviews, right, on a business plan. That okay,
Yeah.
and 5 reviews can be done, within 4 5 weeks, or sometime,
Okay.
it's stretched to a 3 weeks time when the other person who has to revise their business plan is taking long. And I want to mention that sometime we also find that the business plan was a consultant ready or by the organically developed by the candidate, right?
Mhm.
So we want to see more organically developed rather than AI or consultant developed
Yeah.
business plan. But again, it's all up to the entrepreneurs and the aspiring individuals how they want to structure and how responsive they are. So time for typically, I would say, tell them between 1 to 3 months.
Perfect. And would you have, they are asking that you as a elite startup, would you have shares in these companies? Do you get
Yes,
any
actually,
equity or no?
yes, I am one of the co-founder of Elite Startup Hub for
No,
sure.
no, no, no. I mean, about if someone wants to start a business, they receive a recommendation letter from the Elite startup. Does Elite get some shares in the business that they want to
No, no, no.
incorporate?
We
Okay.
are strictly no. We don't. We have no interest in their business
Yeah.
other than the success of their business. That's
Okay.
what our criteria is.
Yeah.
And you know what? We are here to ensure that Alberta gets most profit and benefit out of this program. Okay.
Perfect. And how much do you charge for your services? If you want, you can mention. If not, we can send them email afterwards. It's up to
Yes,
you.
I think everything is already available on the website as well. But if individual needs to contact us directly and ask about our packages and services fee, we will ensure directly inform them as well. So even Mary, if you like, you can provide our email ID that where they can reach out directly to us. We are totally fine with that.
Thank you so much. And if you expect a student to apply for this program, what is the acceptable source of income? Can they take a loan? I believe they are asking if the students already are in Canada. They are an international student in Canada. They are asking, but still they are graduate, for example, from their bachelor. They are studying master or PhD here. And if they want to apply for this program, is there any requirement for having a specific income or not? I reframed the question if I understood it well.
Yeah, no, Mary, there's no criteria or requirement for the income, but though their investment should come from the known lending sources.
Yeah.
So
It
if they are
cannot be a loan to just pay that 50K investment, of course. That makes sense. They are supposed to bring money to Canada, not take it.
if they have it already here, so we have few candidates who are in the same situation as somebody trying to mention over here that they were having the PGWP, and then they want to establish a new business in the technology sector, but they were already have the graduation outside of country, right? So
Yeah.
they were qualified and they want to establish a business in Calgary, and they were having the source of funds from here as but their net worth is also outside of the Canada too, right? So it's a perfect match.
Perfect. And is there any specific business areas where getting nominations make easy or any business is allowed? I think we already just responded to this based on the industries that they are part of the requirement to have a business in those industries. And as the business incubator, do you charge a fee for initial assessment when someone wants to apply or no? It's free.
Yeah, you can imagine that number of queries we get, and we want people to go through with the eligibilities and, go through with the programs, pointers that why they should be applying under this program. But we charge $250 Canadian initial consultation call. The reason behind it is that we want to ensure that before they even go to the next step of signing up a contract with us where they have to pay a fee, we want to ensure that why, and that fee is not refundable. So we are giving opportunity to them to just use that initial call and consultation before you commit the more amount in your process.
Okay, perfect. I believe that's the end of the question. What is the website? I think I have some help here that can write it down, our website. And also question was for outside candidate. Okay. Can they take loan from family or friends? Can I respond to this? I think they can get loan as long no one will know that they get loan. I mean, they need to show that they are investing this money. So where they are bringing this money from, I think it's up to them.
Yeah, no, no. One thing that they want to make sure that if they are getting any family or friend, because MNP is going to understand where the funds are coming from, right?
Mm.
If suddenly their bank balance has been, gone to the required amount, right? The
Okay. And it
MNP will
was
start.
zero before, or it was very low, they will red flag it. Yeah. Yeah.
So they want to make sure that the source of fund is coming from the right sources, right? So
Yeah.
MNP or KPMG or whosoever, they are going to have the qualified service provider for that. So my recommendation is that as yes, the family, friends, they can borrow money or they can have a source of, as long as there is a source, a connection, how they are
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah,
So,
perfect. So this has been just very valuable, your precision about where the real risk points are, how they can strengthen the cases, who is the right candidate, and all other things that you have explained. It was really valuable and informative for our just attendees and also for the people who will watch us later. Unfortunately, there are many entrepreneur streams, not many, but there are few entrepreneur streams that exist, but since a startup visa was really famous, the people don't know that much or they don't have information, or let's say maybe because a startup visa was somehow easier stream, people were more just informed about that one. So again, our goal is to educate everyone about all the streams. Necessarily a startup visa was not the best just a stream for everyone. This is really nice one. It's still easy comparing to the other, I believe, entrepreneur PMP streams. We have a free assessment in our website. You can go and based on the condition of your clients or potential clients, you can fill out the form or ask them to fill out the form. It will show them which stream is better for them when it comes to the business immigration and how they can improve their score. Also, you will get some insight about some analysis of how many draws in each province was done, what are the targets, just number of the PRs that they want to issue this year based on for this stream. As Jas mentioned, this stream tripled the number now is around 90 cases. Sooner you apply, so sooner, just more chances you will have to get a spot. So if you have a client that they are already ready and they just prepare everything for the startup, but then the program was closed, I think this is a really good, suitable replacement to announce to them and introduce to them. We offer a 30-minute free consultation if you want to explore more and see if this is a good fit for you. Also, if you want more information about the Elite Startup and Elite Incubator, we will send you after this recording. We will also send the website and some information about them in case that you want to reach out to them. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. Like every time that we have this webinar, I'm asking you and thanking the ones that participating in the survey after this webinar. telling us what they like or what they dislike about this webinar, about the topic, what guests they like to see in the next webinars, what topics do you want us to just cover in the next webinars, and we will be glad to accommodate those ones. This webinar is not marketing for marketing purposes. This is built for educational purposes. We want to make sure that you are giving the best advice to your clients and they are receiving the first-hand information, what's beyond what is written in the paper and in the instruction from the latest trend. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, Jas, for being here with us today. Have a wonderful day. You will receive an email for our upcoming webinar. We are again waiting for the Ontario government to announce the new streams. We already talked to the speaker guest for the next webinar, but as soon as we have that confirmation that it's announced, the new streams are announced, we will send you the information for the registration and also for the topics that we are going to cover. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so
Bye.
much. Bye.